everyone, welcome to my channel, Emily Reads, and today I'm going to go through my October wrap-up and the books that I read this month. I read a total of 8 books and DNF'd 1 book. So I read a total of 3,200 pages, which when I calculated that total, I was so relieved because I have some chunkers on November's TBR, and I said, how am I going to possibly read all these books? I have 5 books planned for November, but they're chunkers. And I thought there's no way I could read all these books. But when I calculated out the pages read, I said, nope, I can do it. So that being said, let's get started. Hopefully this take goes smoothly. This is my 3rd try. So here we go. So the first book that I read was It's In His Kiss by Julia Quinn. That is book 7 in the Bridgerton family series. And hold on 1 minute, let me look at my reading journal. Extreme close up there. My reading journal's on the ground. I had to go pick it up. So I gave it, I believe, I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. And so this book is now Hyacinth's story, and her love interest is Gareth St. Clair, and he never got along with his father. He is the 2nd son, and he never got along with his father. His older brother has passed away, and now he's inherited the title. And Hyacinth now is in her 4th season, and she still would like to get married, but she doesn't know who could match her and her wits and her intelligence. And so she's turned down some proposals. Well, Gareth finds a diary written in Italian by his grandmother, and Hyacinth says, I can read Italian, I can help translate it. And by doing so, that reveals some family secrets that Gareth's family has, and it reveals a treasure hunt that they start going down, and of course they end up falling in love. It was cute, it was a light read, I enjoyed it. It came at a time that I needed a light read. I read it at the beginning of the month, and my friend who had passed away mid-September, her funeral was October 2nd. So it was good to have a read during that time that was light to help me take my mind off some things. The next book I read was the Xhex, which I gave 3.75 out of 5 stars, which actually I feel like that might be a little high now that I'm coming to think about it. So this is a story of Vivian, who is a witch, and her aunt has always said never mix magic with vodka. Well, she ends up placing a curse on her ex-boyfriend of 3 months one summer, and she puts a curse on him after she finds some things about him. And 9 years later, he comes back into town because his family is the founding family of this town, and he needs to go there to speak at the Founding Day celebration, and then also strengthen the ley lines, which are the magic lines that run through town. But because he has this curse on him, the magic goes wrong, and now the town is cursed. So they have to work to break the curse. I enjoyed it in that it was a good mood read for October, but what I did not like was she was awfully bitter about a relationship that only lasted maybe 3 months when they were 19. And the relationship, like I said, it was a 3-month relationship when they were 19, when they're 20. It's 9 years later. You grow and you change a lot in your 20s, and then he comes back, and with like less than a month, they are in love with each other. So that I had a problem with. And it was basically like, oh, I'm so attracted to him, I'm so attracted to her, how can I jump them? So, like, jump their bones. So that's why I did not like it. It just seemed too much on the how can we have sex and not enough relationship development. So because of that, I'm going to be unhauling this. The next book I read, 5 out of 5 stars, Ship of Destiny by Robin Hobb. This is the 3rd book in the Live Ship Traders series, and it's also the conclusion of the Live Ship Trader trilogy, and it's the 6th book in her Realm of the Elderling series. Oh, I loved this book. So good. Um, First of all, I just love how she developed characters. I love Althea, I love Bracian, I love Wintro. I even love the villain Kenneth, although he does something horrific that I do not love that he did. It was horrific. So, trigger warning, there is a rape scene in this book. Um, it's not very graphic, but you are aware that there is a rape. And a character needs to also then deal with the effects of the rape on her. So please be warned. If that's something that you can't handle, please be aware of that. But I loved how Robin Hobb developed the characters. Also loved the ending and what is revealed about one character, where I was like, what? That can't be. Yes, it really is. It was like, what? It was mind-blowing. It was just so good. So some people say that you can start with the Life Ship Trader series. You don't have to read the Farseer trilogy. I disagree with that. After reading this book, you need to read the Farseer trilogy. You need to have knowledge of a character in that trilogy. While they don't really, and they vaguely mention some things that happen in the Farseer trilogy that you don't need to know, you don't need to be aware of to follow this Life Ship Trader series. But there's a reveal about a character in this book that if you don't have background knowledge from the Farseer trilogy, you'll have a hard time piecing together some bits. But that being said, seriously, 5 out of 5 stars, so good. I would love to read this trilogy again, but I need to plow through and finish the Realm of Elderling series first. Then the next book I read was, nope, maybe this might not be the next book that I read. The next book I read was The Mismatch by Noelle Adams, and that was an ebook. It was light fluff. It was cute. It was the third book in a series, and basically light fluffy romance. I think I gave it maybe 2.75 out of 5 stars. It served its purpose. The next book I read was Sky in the Deep by Adrienne Young, and this was a reread for me. It's a YA fiction book, and basically it's about, it's set in Scandinavia, and so these two rival tribes, every year they fight and they battle each other throughout like the fighting wartime months. And I don't remember Aelin, I'm going to mispronounce her name. Aelin's brother, Eerie, he was killed in a battle and years ago. And as she's battling the enemy tribe, she sees her brother. And so it turns out he had not died. He had been taken in by the enemy tribe and was nursed back to health by them, and basically was adopted by them. And she ends up trying to go after him and ends up captured and sold into slavery to this enemy tribe. However, another tribe comes in and slaughters multiple villages from both her family tribe and the enemy tribe that captured her. So now she has to seek to unite the tribes to fight this common enemy. Otherwise, both of these warring tribes will be wiped out. I enjoyed it. There is an element of romance, but I enjoyed it because I've never really read too many books set in Scandinavia, and getting that mythology was interesting for me. So it was a good YA read. And I read it in preparation for the next book, which this next book was a DNF. And this book is The Girl the Sea Gave Back. The Girl the Sea Gave Back. And this is years later, and it has some of the same characters, and um, basically, she, I'm gonna forget her, I forget her name, Tova. She was discovered washed ashore by a tribe that takes her in, and she's got all sorts of markings on her body and tattoos, and that basically means that she's a truth tongue. She's from a different tribe way up north that never leaves their lands. Um, and because she's from that tribe, and because she's a truth tongue, she never she never fit in with her tribe that takes her in. And I just didn't care for this. I read 100 pages into it, and this has two different points of views. One is from Tova, and one is from, I'm not going to remember his name, Halvard, who came from the two rival tribes from the previous book. So it's told between their two point of views. But then there's also flashbacks. So this is a 300-page book. And within 100 pages, we had several flashbacks, we had multiple point of views, and nothing was really developed. And by 100 pages, I was like, I don't really have any connection to Tova. I don't really have any connection to Halvard. And I met Halvard in the previous book as a young boy, and now he's a grown man in this book. And so you'd think, like, I want to learn more about Halvard. I didn't want to learn more about Halvard. So after 100 pages, I was like, there's too many books that I want to read. I'm not really enjoying it. I'm giving up. I DNF'd it. I'm getting rid of it. The next book I read was Jin Messiah, and this fit my Pop Sugar Reading Challenge of a DNF book. I had started this back in May, and I had gallbladder surgery, and I was recovering from that, and I realized this is not the time to be reading a heavy political tome, because I was taking pain medications and sleeping and in pain, and so my brain was just not focused. This book, a lot of people say that you need to understand that this is a bridge between Dune and Children of Dune, which I agree. The first half is really pretty slow, because it's all about Paul is now an adult, and he needs an heir, because he is this now. He's almost become a messianic leader of the Fremen tribe on Arrakis. Is that it? Arrakis. Sorry. So he's this political, religious leader who needs an heir, but there's another faction that is trying to take him out and kill him. Well, Frank Herbert is very much anti, when you read it, while it says Dune Messiah, he very much is very anti one person having power. It was good. You have to remember that he just kind of plops you into the world with not much explanations, and as the book unfolds, you will put together the pieces of the puzzle, and it will, the things that he talks about at the beginning of the book, it will slowly make sense. It picked up the last third of the book, and I started really enjoying it then. The beginning was tough to get through. The ending was really good. Rarely do I say something out loud as I read. I'm just kind of like, okay, I'm reading. It's great. No, I got to the ending. I was like, wait, what? Whoa. And I mean, like, it was mind-blowing. And I said that out loud. And I don't talk out loud when I read. This was good. I'm looking forward to reading the third book. I don't know when I will read the third book, because I want to continue with my realm of the Elderlings, and I want to start up with, Wheel of Time, now that it's November and the Wheel of Time is coming out on Amazon Prime. So I probably will read the third book in this beginning next year, but I don't remember what I gave this. I think probably 4.5 stars, only because the beginning was just slow, but it was good. The next book I read was Alias Grace by Margaret Atwood. This is based on a true story about Grace Marks, who at 16, she is tried for murder of a housekeeper and the master of the house, along with another servant at the house. And that servant and she were basically believed to be lovers that plotted to kill the master and the other servant girl. This is based on a true story. It's set in the 1800s in Canada, and it takes a look at what does sanity, who defines what sanity is, what is sane, who defines what is sexuality. Very much a feminist book, and also that takes a look at the conditions of what is truth, who defines truth, who defines sanity. It looks at issues of classism, sexism. I did enjoy it. It's not an easy read, one, because there are some graphic elements, but also one of the characters you want to like, and you think like, okay, he's going to be kind of like the hero, one of the heroes of the stories, and you're like, nope, he's not a hero. He's gross himself, and has some very gross views when it comes to women, and I don't like him as a person. And while his outside veneer is genteel and knowledgeable, once you peel back layers and you hear his narration, you're just like, ooh, what is lurking in his heart is not good. Trying to find a way to explain this without revealing things. In real life, you never know for sure what Grace Marks' role was in the murders of her employer and the housekeeper, and Margaret Atwood sticks true to that. You don't really know what was her role, what was her involvement. So for sure, there's that is a pretty unsettling thing, because we want closure. We want to know, was she guilty? Was she not guilty? If she was guilty, how guilty was she? We don't get that, and that's very unsettling, but that's also what made it good, because life doesn't have neat closure, and so that's why I enjoyed it. And the last book I read was Frankenstein, and this fits my prompt on the Pop Sugar Reading Challenge of a book that was anonymously published. I'm glad I read it because it's a classic, and I was an English education major, and I never read this book. So for that reason, I'm glad I read it. I'm glad that I read it because of how canonical this book is. But what I realized is I don't like romantic literature. I don't like flowery prose. And that's what you get a lot of. It's a lot of flowery prose on, oh, I did this horrible thing. I created this awful creature. What have I done? And now this creature is tormenting me. So that's why I was just like, In all honesty, while yes, there are times where like, yes, this is truly about man's pride in knowledge of science and thinking that they can become God and create things that should just be left dead. As I was reading it, I was like, Jurassic Park told this story too. But I enjoyed Jurassic Park better because it was more action than flowery prose. So, do I recommend reading this? Yes, I do recommend reading this because it is so canonical. I do say read it to read it because it is a canonical book. I enjoy more action, I guess, and not romantic flowery literature. So that is my October wrap up. Like I said, I cannot believe that I read 8 books this month. And what helped me was, excuse me, with Frankenstein, I spaced that out. So I read, I tried to read 10 pages a day. I didn't always fulfill that, and so I finished that yesterday and had 50 pages to read. But I tried to break up that reading while I read other books too. Let me know what you're reading. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and have a wonderful, happy, safe Halloween.